Hello, and welcome to this episode of Watch Out for Fireballs, which is brought to you by Eric, who's one of our patrons. If you would like to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. You can pick games we'll cover. You can get early episodes. You can get bonus shows. You can support Bonus Boys. My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
And you're listening to Watch Out for Fireballs, a Games Club podcast.
And this week we are talking about Dino Crisis 2, which is an action game developed and published by Capcom for the PlayStation in 2000.
Yeah, welcome to Halloween.
Yep.
Welcome to October.
Mm-hmm.
We're recording this well in advance. But
yeah.
The spooky season is upon us, and we decided to ease into the spookiness.
Yeah, we just want to. We're titrating. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna start with a mixture, and then just kind of move straight to the existential horror next week. So we're good.
We don't get the bends.
Yes. What I don't want is for little bubbles of scaricules to develop in my bloodstream and go directly to my pineal gland. That's not preferable.
No. Yeah, this was executive produced by Eric. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. This is, I had a lot of fun with this. It's one of the dumbest things we've ever fucking done on the show.
I love it. It's fucking dumb.
It's sci-fi original movie dumb.
Yeah.
Like no joke. Like this is like Lake Placid. Like
this is Deep Blue Sea 4 level.
This
dumb.
is the dumbest shit. We're doing Resident Evil 5 this month, and this is the dumbest fucking things happen in this. Capcom is such a weird company.
Yep.
This is so incredibly stupid. Like it's enjoyable.
Yep.
But every time somebody talks, it's exceedingly dumb. Like I would defy someone to take pathos from this. You know, I just like want to find the tearjerker page on this on TV Tropes and just like pants all these nerds. Cause this is not that kind of story.
But the reveal at the end, the hologram, Gary.
Somebody cried about that, and I just want to wedgie him real bad. I understand, like that's bully behavior, but like, Jesus fucking Christ,
I want to wedge them and then hang them from a ceiling fan.
Yeah, like a not even that's not even an atomic wedgie. That's like a cyclonic wedgie.
Yeah, that's a supernova wedgie.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, galaxy brain wedgie. And so with background on this, I had never played this before. I had played Dino Crisis 1.
Yeah.
So I was expecting to go into this like it was Dino Crisis 1.
Yeah, I was expecting to go into this with raptors being something to worry about.
Nope. Don't worry about anything in this game.
This is easy, smooth going.
Yeah.
This might as well just be an arcade game. For all of the kind of like weight and gravity to it and the action. And like I feel like I need to lay this out here. I like this game. This is fun and it goes down smooth. But yeah, there's no concern here. I also had played Dino Crisis 1. I like that game quite a bit. I think it's worth doing in the future. Actually, I had not played this. I had heard people say like, yeah, this one's a little bit more buck wild, and I didn't. That was an understatement on their part.
Yeah, it's pretty silly. In it, you play as two special forces soldiers, part of TRAT, Regina and Dylan, and you are sent to rescue people from a city that was displaced in time to a jungle full of dinos.
Right. And this plays an awful lot like a Resident Evil game. It is tank controls against a pre-rendered background, and that is, that is an understandable reason why people would call this survival horror. But kind of an unexpected theme of this month is like Capcom's like a little bit of like identity crisis. They had a hit with Resident Evil, and they had no idea where to go next. So we had Devil May Cry, which came out 1 year after this.
Yeah. And this is like, takes some things from Devil May Cry, but the weirdest vestigial elements from Resident Evil are still attached to this. So the idea is, they call it, even the first one, they called it panic horror.
Yes.
Capcom as a marketing thing. So like, this is even more that, like, if there's any kind of stressacules that you gain at all, it's like action stressacules. It's like the difference between like a horror movie and a thriller.
Yes.
Is kind of the idea. But it's also very hard to be thrilled by this. Because shooting what are effectively monsters, and I love dinosaurs, but what are effectively monsters ludically is as old as the hills.
Yes.
So this is, you play this with tank control, pre-rendered backgrounds, you mentioned. You always run. There's no run button. You can move with your weapon out.
Yep.
There's no reloading. Like every gun has, the minimum ammo is like 50 for like big, strong weapons.
Yeah. You never have to worry about your ammo. Like you do have to like recharge them, but you're carrying, even by the midpoint of this game, you're carrying enough ordnance to, basically fight for hours. It's a lot. And that, that ordnance comes in the way of these, this growing stock of primary and secondary weapons, each with kind of a different utility. And these kind of show up at your shop, kind of at fixed points throughout the game.
Yes. You swap back and forth between Regina and Dylan. And the main differentiator is they have different weapons. Other than that, they're identical. Right. Basically, Regina's a little bit faster. Dylan's weapons are a little bit slower, but everything is fast enough. There's no like Hagar, slowness in this.
Yeah, not an awful lot of like wind up on your attacks here.
Yeah. And there's no inventory management. So all of this stuff is pretty typical to survival horror that you're missing. Dylan and Regina share an inventory of key items and then also health items.
Yeah.
So the only thing that is different in particular to a character is a weapon, which you then like recharge and upgrade at like Dave & Buster's ticket stations.
Yep. Just these little terminals. On the wall. They work in every state of repair, even if they're underwater. And what you do with these Dave & Buster's, instead of swiping your ticket card or whatever, you get, you spend extinction points, and you get these extinction points, like literally just as points that are awarded to you for fighting dinos real good.
Yes. Killing dinos well with a combo. And then you trade them into these Dave & Buster stations for upgrades to your weapon. So you get recharge your bullets or get bigger clips or get better weapons.
Right.
The game, like a Devil May Cry, the game keeps track of your combos. So the idea is if the score that you got for the dino is still on the screen and you kill another dino, that's a combo. And you can increase this. You can change this by buying cards, adding to the Dave & Buster's.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Every time you go between rooms, you get a version of the Devil May Cry, scoring system. If you took no damage, you get a bunch of points. During this, I think you might get a bonus point for killing all the dinos because eventually they'll stop spawning.
Will they?
In a room until you leave.
I never found a point where they stopped coming, and I farmed.
Yeah. I farmed as well. This game, like with farming, is like 4 hours.
Right.
It is, it is a pittance.
Yeah. It's also meant to be gone through several times too.
Yeah. 100%. And like increase, and there are other modes and stuff which are very funny. The virtual dino fighting mode is very funny to me. Definitely going to try to do that on Duckstream.
Oh yeah.
Next year together. But so eventually dinos will stop coming, regardless of what you get scored for all this stuff, like a Devil May Cry, but it has the rhythm of a Resident Evil game. So imagine every time you do a door transition, you get how well you went through that section.
Yeah.
It doesn't like take up a lot of time or kill pacing or anything. Mm-hmm. It's just really fucking weird to see.
Yeah. And it's like, it's kind like, I found it to be a pretty satisfying feedback loop and like iteration loop as I was going. To have that there, because in my head, you know, I know what's at the shop. Like, I know what I'm working toward even as I go. So like by making the points into currency, they actually really managed to make me care about how many points I get, which is a weird thing. Like I never ever play for score.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're money. It's not, you know, so it doesn't feel like you're getting graded just for the love of being graded.
Yeah. It's not just because
like
number go big. Yes.
Yeah. You know, which I definitely prefer, even though that does lead to some grinding. Mm-hmm. And this is a weird thing where like it's meant to be played multiple times. If I had spent, you know, big money on this when it came out as a big fan of the first one, I think I'd probably have been disappointed by how short and grindy it is. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know that I'll replay this.
Right.
It was fun. You know, it was a pittance. It was fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, but the idea that this is 4 hours with grinding is real wild to me. It is very slight.
Yes. Yeah. But you go to the Dave & Buster's there, you recharge your weapons. And like there's no limit to the ammo that you have. You know, you're not scrimping and saving and all, like we said. It just infinitely comes out of these machines. I would like to know what governing body issues extinction points.
It's, you know, the third energy.
Yeah.
The third energy place.
It's magical. Yeah. But you can also buy like recovery items and stuff, different sizes of med kits. Your inventory space for these is limited. You know, so if you come across one and your inventory's full, you will, you know, not be able to pick it up. You can also buy like hemostatic medicine, early on. If you take certain kinds of wounds, you will get bleed. In the previous game, I believe this made it easier for dinosaurs to track you. Here, it's like a damage over time kind of thing. The other thing you can get are these resuscitation packs, which is like buying continues.
Yes. Yep. And again, currency is effectively unlimited.
Right.
You can buy weapons there, but also, you know, the weapons that there will unlock over the course of the story. Mm-hmm. There. With Dylan, a really, really good weapon is available for a lot of money right away.
Yeah.
So if you grind up for the electricity gun, like you're set for quite a while.
Yeah. That's like a weirdly potent gun. I thought it was going to be useless when I saw its range, but no, you can kill like 7 dinosaurs at a time with one shot.
Yeah. You just ride that throttle. Mm-hmm. Everyone has both characters have a secondary weapon. Mm-hmm. So, Regina has something called a stun knife, which also magically opens doors. And knocks frisbees out of the air. And Dylan has a machete, which she makes fun of him for in a running joke that like I flex my brain so hard I don't fucking understand. It has. Does the machete mean something different in Japan?
I don't know. Like, so I've got no idea. So I think that Regina makes it a thing because Dylan at the start makes a big point like, oh look, I can cut through the vines on this door. I'm a big macho man. Look at me go. And Regina's like, okay, I'll be over here picking this lock later, loser. Has the cadence of a joke, but it's actually trying to explain a gameplay difference between them.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing lame about using a machete to cut away vines in a jungle.
Right. That's kind of what they're
literally
for.
That's like literally what they're for. That's like, you know, and they're in it. Like, I feel like at any point, or this, like Regina, you brought a stun gun, which cannot cut through vines. You knew you were going to the jungle. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just very weird. And it is kind of a running joke.
Yep.
So their initial paths are different. Eventually they converge, but you never, you know, they'll cover each other and such. This is not a zapping system thing. It's basically used for pacing. I feel like, hey, I've been Dylan for a little while. Let's go see what Regina's up to.
And it's like, so they do something kind of clever with that, which is like if there's a substantial amount of backtracking to be done, in a particular, section of the game, like, oh, this person is trapped over here and I need to run mostly through places I had been before. What this does is it takes that backtracking and it puts a little bit of extra spin on it by giving you a new person to play through with different weapons. And oftentimes different dinosaurs will appear in those rooms. Yeah.
You know, there's an anonymity to the locations in general.
Yeah.
I feel like they look good, but there is not, for most of the game, there's not a huge sense of place here.
Right.
So they may as well just be wireframe arenas to fight dinosaurs. Like, if they didn't do that, it would be repetitive. It doesn't actually, like, backtracking wouldn't have been as big a deal in this as it is in other games anyway, I feel like.
Yeah. The story is revealed mostly through cutscenes. You also find these regular, just kind of survival horror notes, people's logs from before they die, people talking about the situation they're in, etc. You can also find these dino files, which give you information about the dinosaurs that you fight, which includes like notes about like how the soldiers encounter them first and like combat tips. These are
almost
pretty
exclusively that. Like, I wanted a little bit more, like, this is not an educational game.
No.
Dino Crisis 2. But I was like, I was ready to learn about dinosaurs. You know, you don't learn very much about dinosaurs in this game, though. I gotta say.
Welcome to Dino Crisis. You will see what I saw. You'll eat who I eat.
Yep. I really would have liked to have gotten a few more, like, pertinent dino facts, as opposed to just like, oh, shoot them. You know, shoot this one's shooting the side, but this one you can shoot anywhere you like.
Yeah, this one needs to be flipped over like a turtle. Why aren't you helping?
I would have really liked this if in a different game where, like, if these were scary, like this made me really want like a version of the story that was done for Terror. Because finding these notes and finding these like apocalyptic logs about this creature before you actually run into the creature is really effective and cool.
Yes.
And Resident Evil does it all the time. In Dino Crisis, I found that like I would fight the monster, you know, the dinosaur usually, and then I would find a thing that told me how to kill it, but it was not full of useful tips because I don't actually think this game is very hard.
No.
Like there's like very little rigor. I don't need tips.
Yeah.
You know, you point and shoot.
Yeah. And like there are even, you know, certain dinosaurs that say you absolutely need to do this process to kill them. Or you need to have a powerful enough weapon that gets through their armor, and you're fine because you're gonna get one of those a third of the way through the game, and you have unlimited money to power it. You know, that said, both of us played it on normal. As a normal mode, this is exceptionally breezy.
Yeah. The normal is probably an easy mode.
Yeah.
On a traditional Resident Evil game. And again, like I get, you're supposed to play it over and over and get better scores and stuff, and that's just not the type of gamer I am.
Nope.
If you collect all the dino files, not only do you learn nothing about dinosaurs, but you also get infinite ammo.
Which you effectively already have anyway.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, gosh. At several points in the story, you do play little mini games. Most of the time, these are like little like rail shooting kind of things. If not rail shooting, like you're manning a heavy cannon and like trying to shoot dinosaurs to like cover somebody. I generally like am a fan of these. These are good variety.
Yeah, breaks up the pacing. Adds like a lot of arcade energy to this. Like specifically, this reminded me of like Let's Go Jungle, the Sega Love Tester dinosaur shooting arcade game. Once you beat the game, you get access to the Dino Coliseum,
which is a VR training mission.
Yep, and Dino Duel, which is a dinosaur fighting game, where you fight the different dinosaurs from the game, you get their moveset and stuff. That is a funny idea.
Yes. Yeah, and it reminded me when I was reading about this, they said, oh, it's similar to Jurassic Park Warpath. Jurassic Park Warpath would be a fun one to do on Epic Suffering, Gary.
Yeah, I haven't thought about Jurassic Park Warpath in quite a while.
Who has?
I love Jurassic Park. I mean, Trespasser is obviously the big Jurassic Park game that we have in the, you know, the bucket for that thing. And we just have to be careful because eventually at some point we're just going to talk about Jurassic Park during it. And like, I can talk about Jurassic Park.
That's a very good movie.
Yeah, I like that franchise. I'm way into dinosaurs. The weird thing about this was it made me, at some point along the line, I got sick of it. Like, I don't like killing dinosaurs. I like dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So I was looking at all these peaceful dinos, especially the Triceratops, who were just like, they had a legitimate grievance.
Yeah.
Or thought they did. I wanted like a dino arbitration. Like restorative dino justice. Yeah. I wanted, this is a dino crisis of justice.
Yeah.
I really wanted to help them. instead of kill them.
Yeah. I want to just say that this is a horrible misunderstanding, ma'am.
Yeah. You are a good mother.
Yeah.
Triceratops. It's also my favorite dinosaur, so.
That's a good dinosaur.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Extremely good dinos.
So this game is goofy nonsense. We're going to, talk about the individual beats, what this ultimately adds up to, the story for this. I mean, you nailed it when you said sci-fi original. And I don't necessarily need this to be especially heady, No. Yeah.
If it was going to be bad, this is the way to be bad.
Yes.
It's not boring.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little bit disappointed with how little story there was.
Yes.
The connective tissue in this game is really weird. The rhythm of this is very modal.
Mm-hmm.
It's very watch a pretty short cutscene and then go through a lot of combat hallways, maybe do some grinding. You spend most of your time just shooting dinos.
Yeah.
And once you actually know the story, it's basically dead simple. All the incident and complication happens all in one cutscene at the end.
Right.
Near the end. Everything up until that point is just feckless idiots who cut their own hair, not knowing what to do.
We'll talk about these haircuts. I can't handle Dylan's.
Dylan's haircut's amazing.
Man. His haircut is the haircut that if you were making a cartoon, you would give it to somebody to show that they were a hayseed who just fell off of the turnip truck.
It is big hayseed energy, but he's a big thick neck commando as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just real. It's clings.
Yeah.
And everybody's got that haircut. And then when you run into the time travel teen, she's got that weird face as well.
Yeah.
The ladies have okay haircuts. The men have horrible haircuts. But it's not, nobody looks cool in this in an incredible way. This is, Dante, right? Dante is supposed to be a dork, kind of a dorkable, but you think that he's okay, this is still somebody's idea of cool.
Yeah.
If this is somebody's idea of cool, good fucking night, because this crew is one of the least cool crews we've ever seen.
I don't know that you can fix that misapprehension. Yeah.
How do you make a crew of an entire crew of people less cool than Rebecca Chambers? Every single one of them.
But I said this on Twitter and said it's a line from Akewood, but that doesn't happen by not trying.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Regina was people thought Regina was going to be a new Lara Croft.
Yes.
People were very horny for Regina. So I can imagine them trying to give her a supporting cast that was also sexy in some way, but it's just a couple of 7-year-old boys giving each other high fives. and then Nell is also there. And that's our crew. It's really fucking weird.
Yeah. High five bros with bonus Nell.
Yeah. And just Regina, you can do better, sister.
Yeah. I mean, it might be a contrast thing. It might be the bride wants to look good, so the bridesmaids have to wear the tacky dresses. Yeah.
The wingmen.
Yes.
That she has around her.
Mm-hmm.
To look,
the voice acting is, charming. The dialogue, vintage Capcom. I highlighted a couple of lines. The music is really all over the place here. There are some tracks that are really good, and there are some others that sound that would not have been out of place on the Resident Evil Director's Cut analog edition. Just really just wildly clashing keys and stuff that doesn't really happen on any meter. It's weird.
Pretty dissonant and random. I ended up since a portion of this game was grindy, I ended up listening, putting on a YouTube. I played this in an emulator for most of it to kind of scoot through. So I ended up missing a lot of the music. I don't feel, that's not great, but I got a taste of it.
Yeah, the save room music is, I think, the highlight here.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the series a little bit. So Dino Crisis was created by Shinji Mikami. He directed and produced the first game, which, as we said, it's a more traditional survival horror game. You have limited resources. You can only carry 30 bullets at a time, and it takes 10 of them to take down one raptor. So imagine if, just zombies were a much more mobile, much more menacing threat that could follow you around. It's still actiony, it's still empowering, but it's a lot.
You probably played it a lot more recently than I have, because I played it when it was contemporary.
Yes.
My memory is that Dino Crisis 1 placed a lot of emphasis on the difference between like trank ammunition and deadly ammunition.
Yeah.
So you were encouraged to just like knock out a dinosaur to get past it, as opposed to, eliminating dinosaurs.
Yes.
So there's a lot of like dodging dinos in the hallway.
Yeah, I streamed this like 4 years ago, something like that. Had a good time. And like, don't get it twisted. That is an incredibly goofy game as well. Like at the end, you fight, you're riding on like a raft and you're going down the river fighting a T-Rex who to all the world looks like he is, gliding across the surface of the water because his tail is spinning like a propeller.
Pretty cool.
It's pretty good. But this takes that and goes even further. I think it would, as I said it earlier, but it'd be cool to do Dino Crisis 1 at some point. It's an interesting game. Yeah. For this one, the director's chair was handed to Shu Takumi, who was the scenario planner for the first game, kind of came up with the overall story there. Takumi, if you know his name at all, it's because immediately after this, he went and did Ace Attorney and Ghost Trick. So,
which he wrote, which is really wild, because it's, these games couldn't be more different.
Right.
Than that. Like those games have a goofy stupidity to them. Not Ghost Trick as much, but like Ace Attorney games are to a degree about like lovable feckless morons.
Yes.
And it's just, they're 1,000 times more competent than this.
Yeah.
Like this doesn't, I mean, it is on purpose, right? But it's also, it's hard to tell for me, like knowing the line of this.
Yeah. Like how much does it matter if it's intentionally bad? Like it's still this thing, even if it's enjoyable, like it, the second you start stacking it up to other stuff, it appears like a compromised product. Right.
Yeah. It doesn't, I don't think it like ultimately matters whether it was intentional to the experience, but it does matter in terms of thinking about this dude's career arc. Like when you're playing it, it's like, well, it's funny. It doesn't matter if it was meant to be funny. But then this guy going and making like Ace Attorney, which are games that are, sometimes intentionally funny, like have jokes. There aren't jokes in Dino Crisis 2. You're just laughing because like the two bros gave each other a high five and said, this is that's not women's work. Let's go do it. And then he like turns a knob and is like, hell yeah, brother. And then gives each other a high five for turning a knob. Like it doesn't have the cadence of something that is self-aware to me. Or at least like into degrees.
Yes.
So I was very surprised to find out this dude went on to do Ace Attorney.
Yeah. The shift toward arcade action for the sequel here was really intentional. I love this line. So the producer of the game said the theme for the game is the exhilaration of defeating a succession of dinosaurs.
Yes. It's very funny.
Which if you translate that to Latin, that is on my family's crest.
Yeah. It's a good, it is good. I mean, except for dinosaurs are good.
Well, yes. Yeah.
Got to support them.
But I mean, if a dinosaur's in your house, what are you going to do, Gary? Come on.
Huh? I would see what it needed. I would address the concerns in its community.
Okay. That's the right answer. You passed.
They
you passed my test.
They didn't bring themselves back. So this also has a return to pre-rendered backgrounds. Dino Crisis 1 had fully 3D scenes. It's a PS1 generation thing. Pre-rendered backgrounds are going to look good. Full 3D scenes are going to look clunky and empty.
Yes.
So I think this is definitely better.
Right. And also, like, if they're going to make a game that is as snappy as this, having the weird wobbly architecture that you're expected to like move around visually, kind of, I think would take away some of the crispness present here.
Yeah.
So there would be 2 sequels after this, although the first one and the one that is a direct sequel is not labeled as such. Dino Stalker, a game that I forgot about and never realized was part of this series. It's a light gun game that was part of the Gun Survivor series from Capcom. So like, Resident Evil Survivor, Dead Aim, all of that. Here's one about Dino Crisis for the PS2. It picks up after the cliffhanger ending of this, except you play as a time-displaced soldier from World War II, rescued moments from his death.
Yeah. I tweeted this, so I'm repeating a tweet.
That's fine.
I wish this series had been called Timosaurus Rex. What if this had been called Timosaurus Rex? You know? Or like Chronosaur.
Chronosaur would be amazing. Oh my God.
Yeah. And that's basically what's going on here is we're dealing with Chronosaurs. Mm-hmm.
Gary, we all exist in time. So saying a dinosaur that exists in time is a Chronosaur, it's redundant.
It's a displaced
Okay.
Chronosaur.
Okay, a dinosaur out of time is a Chronosaur.
Sapien. You're trying to call me a Chronosapien?
Chronosapien's also really good.
I know.
I want to see. I want to see
fire this morning.
I want to see the cover for Chronosapien as like a 70s paperback.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren and Chronosapien. Hell yeah. Rutger Hauer is
the Chronosapien.
The Chronosapien.
Oh, fuck. That is so good. Does that exist?
I don't know.
Chronosapien appears to be a species in the kids television series Ben 10.
Oh, fuck.
I know, right?
I need to stop dreaming Ben 10 dreams. I keep picking up plot points from Ben 10 in my sleep.
Yep. Oh, Jesus.
The Dino Crisis 3 came out as well. I think it's on the Xbox, the first Xbox.
Yeah, it was exclusive to that.
Totally tangentially related to the rest of the series. It takes place in the future on a space station.
Yeah.
So they might have lost the plot a little bit.
Just a bit. I think the final boss is a genetically modified 2-headed Gigantosaurus who's also a robot.
Cool. Yeah. They had to keep up in it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just as a quick note, because there's nowhere else to put this, I played this on emulator. That's how I'd recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
I had it full screened for a little while.
Okay.
So it stretched it, and it looks kind of normal for Dylan. He just looks like a beef boy. Mm-hmm. And then when Regina came up, it was very funny because I was like, this is unusually fucking thick for like a Capcom PS1 model.
Yeah.
Was Regina the torrid version of Jill? In this version, and then I realized what had been happening.
I like the idea.
Okay.
I like the idea that just your version of Regina is like the failed screen print that Marge brought home of her face on a shirt.
Yeah. Yep. Except generally way thicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very funny.
That was very funny
to me.
Oh man.
Love thick Regina. So let's get into it. This should be a fairly breezy episode.
Yeah.
I found that your experience might be different. That a lot of the encounters were oh hey, there's a hallway with this different kind of shaped raptor.
Yeah.
That also goes down really quickly to my electricity gun. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. That's mostly what my notes turn into. If I remark on them at all, most of the time I am making notes here about the time a new dinosaur shows up.
Yeah. So that's pretty typical for this show, but it's even maybe more than most games we do, there are Dino Crisis-ass encounters in hallways.
Mm-hmm.
In this game where it's just shoot, great distance, It's probably worth talking a little bit when we start introducing those dinosaurs about kind of combat generalities.
Yeah.
Because there are sets of kind of tactics that work for almost every dinosaur, which is spacing, taking advantage of invincibility frames when you climb up or down a ladder, and the dinosaur having to follow you. Yeah. And then counters, again, with the weird Devil May Cry DNA in this, if you shoot a dinosaur right before it attacks you, you get a counter. And you can interrupt their attack. So they're actually kind of like parries in this dinosaur shooting game.
Yeah.
Which is really weird.
I like it. I had fun playing chicken with their attacks.
Yeah, I mean that's basically what you do. There's not a lot of defensive vocabulary. You know, you move around quicker than you do in Resident Evil, but there's no dodge.
Yeah.
So you're basically, you know, shoot the dinosaur, run away, put some space. Shoot the dinosaur, run away, put some space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So starting with the intro here, this takes place 1 year after the events of the first game. First game took place in 2009. This one takes place in 2010. 2009 was the third energy incident. Basically, researchers were trying to find an infinite source of energy, and oops, they opened a time warp and shifted some stuff around. The research was banned, but it got taken to somewhere in the Midwest outside of a place called Edward City. They skipped over all the precautions, and whoops, whole town disappeared.
Edward City has such huge, like, Capcom naming an American town energy to me. Like Steveton.
Yeah.
You know, or something like that. Like, it's so weird.
Hi, I'm from Bob, New York.
Yeah. You know, from Robertsville. So this military boat is sent in, and goes in through the warp. And out comes Dylan. And he narrates the rescue mission. As we mentioned, he has hayseed hair. Imagine if, like, all the hair on the sides and back of your head, you gelled really close to your head, and then just had individual, like, skater strands going down the side, but only a couple inches.
Yeah. Like the way that I read it, it was almost like the sides and back of his head were completely shaved, like razor shaved. And then he had taken just scissors and grabbed clumps of it to go around like in a circle. So it's like he has like it's like he's wearing a shaggy yarmulke.
Yeah. Like a bull haircut, but with thinning hair.
Yeah.
You know, almost like his hair is not thick enough for a true bull haircut. It's really ill-advised.
And we're only making a point of it because you have to look at it roughly half the time.
Yeah, like a lot. And it's just, you know,
well, yeah,
it's fucking dorky.
It's remarkable.
You know, it's remarkable. Yeah, it's an amazing haircut. They arrive at this base camp. But dinosaurs attack. A huge swarm of velociraptors. And then they run away, but of course, because it's a cliche kind of thing, like they're not scared of Trat. They're scared of the T-Rex that has shown up.
Yes. So Dylan and Regina, who, you know, was a survivor of the first game, they kind of like run when their team member, I think, Bob? David. Bob? Yeah, there we go.
It's not Bob. It might be David. This guy also has a lot of fashion going on. He wears a cowboy hat and has like a Prince Valiant haircut under a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
He's like something in a rootin' tootin' royalty. Like, it's very funny.
I'm the king of the rodeo. Yeah. But
he's also our Mike. He's going to show up in a helicopter and a little bit later and really save the day.
Yeah. So, but David, you know, fires a rocket at this T-Rex, doesn't take it down. It just blows out its eye. And this is going to be our, kind of, you know, a nemesis for us. It's going to show up at certain points to kind of like move the plot along. But as, you know, Regina and Dylan are running, they fall off the cliff, like down into this jungle pathway.
Yeah. And this is where we start, where Regina and Dylan are there, and Dylan goes and he's kind of sexist and condescending throughout the whole game. There's a weird sexist undertone to all the men in this game. Through cutting this door with his machete, and then she tries to own him about the machete, which doesn't make sense. Yep. As we mentioned earlier, she goes over to a door and zaps it with a stun baton, and he cuts it through, and this is them splitting up.
Yes.
We start as Dylan in the jungle.
And it's, you know, you're introduced right
away.
Not
Dylan in the movies.
You're introduced right away here to this new pacing because, like, the first several screens that you go down are these long jungle paths, and like each of the, you know, areas has a name, but it's like Jungle Path 1, Jungle Path 2, Jungle Path 3. Like, you're supposed to think about this as like a run of like little action tests.
Yeah, stages.
Yeah.
Yeah, little arcade stages. And we're introduced to the first dinosaur. We fight raptors. Dylan has a shotgun, so he can hit multiple raptors at once. And generally there'll be like 2 or 3 on the screen at a time. But because it's pre-rendered backgrounds, whenever you adjust to a new camera angle, that is an opportunity for more dinos to respawn. here. So I think the intention is you're supposed to run. Once I got to when I was like, okay, I'm going to do a little bit grinding. This became really silly. There's like a room on the way into the facility that looks like a diner room to me.
Yeah.
That for some reason has 5 camera angles. And every time you switch it, dinos pop out of like places you were just at. It feels like secret, like the dinos of Tonaldos, like coming out of the window walls or something.
They were hiding in acute angles. Yeah.
It's incredibly dino rich for like, you survey the room, there's no dinos. You switch cameras, now there's like 6 full of dinos.
Yeah. No, like a lot of the time the action kind of devolved to me like running, or just basically doing a big sweep from one end of the stage to another to get all of them to spawn, then standing and hammering, just basically alternating the auto aim and fire buttons until all of them are gone.
Yep. And your little runs to kind of grind and take out these dinosaurs are limited by your ammo, which you have to recharge at Dave & Buster's stations. So you are intended to do like little runs and little excursions into these zones. Something I really like in this early section, and actually throughout the whole game, is they do other kinds of like bugs and insects and little dinosaurs that just kind of pop about.
Yeah.
That are not enemies. You know, you'll go into an area and they'll have a bunch of weird flying beetles, and it's just to show you that this is, Jurassic Park times.
Yeah, this is an ecosystem. It is not just megafauna which will destroy you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Your first save room is this water tower, kind of like a treatment area, and you spot this strange woman who runs away and will not respond to him when he says, "Hey, I'm here to rescue you." This is going to be a major character. She is dressed very strangely, like has like a sci-fi helmet on. Broadly, these are called the helmet people. Yes, it is a crew of Daft Punks.
Yes, Daft Teens. And ostensibly your idea, the whole reason why you're here is to rescue civilians. So it makes sense for you to call out.
Yes.
There. This is where we get our first shopping terminal. And you can buy that. I can't remember the name of it.
It's like the heavy cannon.
Yeah, which is extremely good. You have to save up for it at this point, but it's not too hard to get through these runs of those hallways without getting hurt and getting some pretty big bonus points.
Yeah.
And then there's a rich gets richer thing, because as soon as you have that gun, your combo ability goes up like hugely.
Yes. The way that gun works is it creates like a big ball of electricity, probably about like 3 feet in front of you. You think, okay, that's, in a game where I want to keep distance. How does that work? Well, the way it works is that ball, has a bigger hitbox than it appears it does. And also it lingers around. So as raptors and other enemies like move toward you, they're going to run right into it and die very quickly.
Yeah. There's not a lot of like AI to the dinosaurs.
No.
Other than just kind of come at you. So you can use that to your advantage.
Yes.
Here. There's a door that we can't get into from here. It's sealed off. There's a sign that says poisonous plants have overrun that area. The passage we can go into is to this military facility. And there are, I think these are the oviraptors or ovioraptors.
Right. They're like these a different color.
The blue raptors. Not the raptor blue from the most recent Jurassic Park movies, but like these are tougher.
Yeah. It takes like 3 shots to take him down instead of 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Once we get to the end of the series of hallways, we get our first kind of like set piece encounter here, with Winky, the one-eyed T-Rex.
I think they call him Cyclops in the game, but Winky is very good. Yeah. He breaks in and like we have to run around these shipping containers kind of going up and down ladders as he tries to chase us and chomp us.
I found this is like, again, like I don't think this is a problem with the game. The degree to which this game is easy, I was surprised by how breezy the sequence was.
Yeah.
Like, were you at any point where you like, this dinosaur could hurt me? Like, I thought I had to fight him at first, so I ran around his feet, and he just kind of slowly was rotating, like on a pivot to try to get me. And it was just like, I could do this all day, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
bring my family. Yeah.
Unemployed dinosaur.
No, and even if he gets you, like I think he like brushed me with like one of his claws or something. I don't know if he did a bite. You have so many hit points, and healing items are so abundant That like, you know, like there's plenty of room for mistakes, even if you treat this, you know, as a pure escape sequence, you know, where you're trying to avoid these obstacles. Like you can get dinged a few times before it becomes a problem for you.
Yeah. It was very like, he was very non-threatening for a T-Rex.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah. Which, a non-threatening T-Rex does not make for a thrilling action sequence.
Yeah. Need something other than Rex.
Mm-hmm.
Like T-Peasant. When you get to the end of this, some helmet people pop out, some Daft Punks pop out and shoot frisbees at you, very slowly, which you do like slow motion dodges out of the way.
Yeah.
There's no sense of impact to this stuff. It's very funny. And you run into this facility to get away from them.
Right. Your save room is this medical facility near the entrance. You find a key plate, which is a special key, and this log from a scientist, kind of giving you the first bit of like exposition here, talking about like, yeah, we're displaced in time, but we're also going through kind of a time loop. Like this is the 10th time we've been through this day. So something is really wrong here. Yeah.
Time is all broken.
Mm-hmm.
You know? This medical room has a bunch of, corpses lying around, and you can tell one of them died in a struggle, but the other ones did not.
Mm-hmm.
So they died naturally. You dip back outside, go through another combat dino hall, to get to the hardware storage facility.
Right.
And there's a note here where they talk about this project where they're trying to revive the time gate.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a really long thing about key cards. They have a really complicated key card system.
Yeah. So like the key cards are to be kept in boxes, and the boxes can only be opened by certain colored key plates, and only one of the key plates can be out at a particular time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you grab the key plate, you get locked in.
Right.
An alarm goes off and you get locked in. You have to radio for help to Regina to come rescue you. And she's like, doesn't your machete help? And I'm like, no, it's not vines.
Yeah.
Like it's a door made of metal. What don't you understand about machetes, Regina?
Also, you're on a squad. When somebody radios for help, you go and help them, Regina.
Yeah. We don't need your tight five about how bad machetes are again.
This is not.
You've been boring us at the base camp with it.
This is not an inconvenience. This is your job, ma'am.
I would love it if Dino Crisis 4 happened and we got to learn that Regina's father was killed by like a sentient machete or something.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like why not at this point? Like a machete with little Google eyes that floats around.
Yep.
You know, from the year 40,000. Who cares?
I am the ultimate endpoint of evolution. All of mankind's endeavors has led to this. Machete.
Mankind has evolved into manchete.
Oh, fuck.
This should have been an abject suffering. Let's continue. But like, this is like the most abject suffering ass like game we've done for this show.
Yeah. I'm still so into it.
I know I'm not into it. It's just I'm laughing at it, but I'm still laughing. I'm having fun.
Yes.
So
we're playing as Regina now. Her starting weapon is a pistol, a little bit less stopping power, but a lot more ammo. And you know,
it's faster too.
Yeah, faster. And you take a different path, obviously, because she has sworn off of machetes because of vengeance. And like you can get into the poisonous plant area, but it's a bad idea.
You want to get like the poisonous plants are susceptible to flames.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get a flame weapon
right
before you go into there.
Yeah. So you get to the research entrance, and this is when you are attacked by an Allosaurus. I like these. This is like a really good mini boss encounter for this, and it's kind of like one of the only like boss encounters you have, because anything bigger you end up fighting like in a special, under special circumstances, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mini boss is a good way to put it. They're kind of coded as like a small T-Rex, basically. And you get a little dino file beforehand that talks about how his head is helmeted. So, he's going to charge at you. You want to get to his sides to do damage, especially with Regina's weapon.
Right. And, you get points for every attack that you land on its side. So.
Yep. And this is, when you first run into him, you are in an area with like stairs and elevation changes, which you can take advantage of, every time those show up. So again, you're invincible while climbing ladders. and the dinosaur has to jump up. So it's basically out of commission while it considers and decides to jump up.
Right. And you can jump down when it jumps up, so you can kind of keep it locked in that animation. Something that's kind of a bummer about this for me. So though I do like the smaller creatures that are around when you come into a stage, the bugs that swarm you are a real issue. They don't do damage, but they will stagger you as they bite, and there's very little in the way of like precise attacks through melee that will like deal with them.
Yeah, they're like a hazard.
Yeah.
And in a game where like you're meant to kind of be out in the hallway shooting dinos for sport, in this, it's very strange as a choice. So like this was what I was referring to earlier, but yeah, these things suck. Agreed. Yeah. You get to the research facility here, and you get to this little control shack in there, which has a save room and has a note saying that the flame launcher weapon can be used to clear the poisonous plants from the infested area. So
I think you can buy it at this point. Yeah.
Yes. And that just is this like you just shoot the plants. It is pretty easy. It reminds me, the way that they're laid out reminds me of the poison spitting statues from the Black Gulch.
Oh yeah. How they're kind of like arrayed on the sides.
Yeah, like walk along the sides and shoot them perpendicularly to avoid having them shoot at you.
Yes. Yeah. When you leave the shack, the helmet people attack. Regina is able to use her stun gun to like knock their frisbee projectiles out of the sky. They move to run and like jump across this bridge that's out, but one of them kind of trips and hangs. Regina rescues her and unmasks her. She's a young girl. This is our Nell person. None of these helmet people can speak English. We're going to learn why, and it is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen.
They're raised by computers to think they're dinosaurs, basically. Fake. It's somebody set the Dr. Venture learning bed to dinosaur. It's really stupid.
Yep.
This Nell character is exceedingly stupid.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So what do you do with a pre-verbal teenager? You drag her into a shack and you handcuff her to a pipe.
Yep. She won't talk. So you're just like, well, pipe for you.
Yep.
And you cuff her.
Have you ever seen Black Snake moan?
You ever seen Misery? So when you go back out into the jungle, there are now pterodons outside, and these things suck. I agree with you.
Yeah.
You have auto aim in this, so it seems like you should be dialed for things, but was not the case.
A flying enemy does not work with this camera. Oftentimes they are like you can just see their shadows around. And it's impossible to be sure like if they are in a point in their flight arc where they're like standing still as opposed to moving. These do not get manageable until like later on when you get the homing missile.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you go and you clear the poison spore thing, as we mentioned. You go to the side. There's a place that you need a gas mask to get to, this missile silo. There's more poison there, but you can just go to this second poison place to make your way to the military facility. In the background, there's this like lovely little field area you walk by, and you see some peaceful triceratops minding their own business, walking along in the background. They're going to have a bad day.
Yes, everybody's going to have a bad day, but at least now it is majestic.
They're going to be singing Tears in Heaven here soon enough. So,
oh Jesus! So you get to the military facility. This is where you came with Dylan before. This is where he got trapped, and you can run to Dylan where he is locked up. Grab the key plate, and then use your stun gun as a key to get into the control room where you can do the swapperoo to get what you need.
Yeah, and there's a machine for the key plates. Only one can be taken at a time. So you're just trading colors.
Yeah.
You swap the black one in for the blue one here, and that will get Dylan out. You free Dylan. He's like, "What took you so long?"
Well, there's lots of dinosaurs, Dylan.
Yeah, there's tons of dinos, Dylan. And also, I found this woman that I chained to a pipe. Want to go check her out?
She's starving now.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to check out this cool thing I got? So you head back. The woman is not responsive. She's just struggling. And then Dylan comes in and gets Regina's attention. Like, hey, our ship that we took here has been all wrecked up.
Yeah.
And the activator for the gate is busted, along with our engine activator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're stranded here. We need some parts at the very least to get the ship going.
Yeah. This is one of the worst rescue missions. Like, very little rescuing happens during this thing. They immediately get in trouble.
Yep.
And just start worrying about how to get out.
I love the cutscene where they decide, yeah, the rescue mission's off.
Yeah, all these people are dead. We fucked up. Oh, well.
Yep.
That's why pencils have erasers. Let's go.
Oh, jeez. So Regina says, hey, cuff the young woman again. She's going to go to this facility that we haven't seen. We're playing as Dylan. We're going to go get the starter battery that we need. Dylan goes to cuff the girl, our little Dino Nell, and she immediately becomes like fascinated with him. She does like lovey chirps and like goes to feel his face and stuff. It's very like modern uwu to me. It's like the lovey chirps. Like it made me think of someone pretending to be a cat. Ooh.
You know, a lot.
Yeah.
Like that's what I was thinking of. And for people who are like, I imagine most of our demographic don't know what Nell is. Nell is a Jodie Foster movie about a woman who never learned to talk, who's kind of animalistic, who lives in a shed, like a shed, if I recall, or a cabin.
Yeah. She's isolated out in the woods and like she develops her own language. Yeah.
Yes. So that's kind of, this woman has big Nell energy.
Right.
As she's kind of like, head pats, you know, like touching on Dylan here.
Yeah. She feels an affinity to him for a reason that is very dumb.
Yep. What do we'll get to?
So anyway, we go off the ship and we're back on these jungle pathways. This is where you have more frequent Allosauruses, though Dylan's weapon loadout is more suited to taking them out. And you can also see the Cyclops T-Rex like lumbering around in the background of one screen. Like it's kind of like stalking you. Yeah,
it's a super nice touch.
Mm-hmm.
You get to the research facility and there's a vine covered door that Regina couldn't get through
for ideology reasons. Yes.
If only she was here to see this. You use a cutting implement, which she's forbidden to get through. When you go through into this mezzanine that's overgrown with vines, we get the Oviraptors, which are poison-spitting dinosaurs. They don't look like the Diaphosauruses or what have you from Jurassic Park.
They don't fan out their necks.
Yeah, no neck fans, but they do hawk poison at you.
Yeah. This is the only projectile dinosaur in the game, I think so. Yeah. Fortunately, they're small and weak.
Super weak. They go by really quick. And one of the things I think is kind of disappointing in this game is that there aren't very many like dino mix-ups.
Right.
You know, like it would have been interesting to have these guys providing cover for, you know, an Allosaurus or something. But there's, you know, there's like not very much dino miscegenation going on.
Yeah. That's a weird way to phrase that. Intermarrying.
Yeah. Yeah. I've taken multiple dino wives.
So deeper inside, kind of past this area, you find this log, about the researchers who are trapped here. They can't even attempt to start building a time gate to get home because they just don't have the instruments that they need. You know, one of them mentions like, hey, we need to get to this missile silo through that poison zone if we want any hope of getting home. Like that's where all the good stuff is.
Yep. We run into another note here where they start talking about compies. We've seen compies around. Also one of my favorite dinosaurs.
Love it.
And they talk about how, they've been making problems for everybody because they steal shiny objects like birds. And of course this immediately happens as soon as you read the note. You go to open this locked door and a compy comes down and steals your card.
And this starts a little like multi-room segment where you have to chase and corral this compy, so the only place that it has to run is into a cage.
Yep.
I kind of like this. This was fun to think through because like it moves through these vents that can only close from one side. So you have to like plan the way that you're going to corral it. Otherwise it gets out. It's neat.
Yeah. Yeah. I like this too. And it's this game is not real full up on puzzles.
Right.
You know, this would have been good as a puzzle even in like a Resident Evil game. Like this is which is also a series that doesn't have great puzzles, but this is pretty good.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah. When we get the key back from our little thief, we can use this to get into the precision lab where we find the starter battery and a note about the helmet people. They're not from Edward City, so they must be from another time period.
Right.
Which I thought they looked like future people anyway. It's like, time travel's about these people are from the future.
Yes. I don't have space frisbees, and they do. So, yeah. So you can go back to the ship, but the girl went away. She has flown the coop. And Regina kind of echoes something that note said, that like, hey, I ran her vitals, her biometrics. It doesn't match anybody in the database of missing people. Like, she is unaccounted for.
Yes. She's not from Edwardton or what have you. We try to pilot the ship to this new location, but a bunch of dinosaurs emerge from the water in front of us, and we do this rail shooting segment to get to the third energy facility, shooting mostly underwater dinosaurs with long necks that have like kind of like the coating of like a kraken or a hydra. It's like, is this a hydra?
No, they're just plesiosaurs that are swimming very fast to keep up with you, and you just have to pop them as they go.
Yeah, and they're hanging out together. They're bonded plesiosaurs.
Yeah. So this gets you to the third energy facility. You're going to be playing as Regina here, and you pretty much right away have to make this long run along these docks. These long-necked plesiosaurs are here, just kind of hanging out off to the side. They initially seem very threatening. However, they go down in just a couple of shots, and this ended up being a place where I did a lot of farming to get some of the new weapons that you have here, a heavy machine gun and also a homing rocket launcher.
Yeah, homing rocket launcher is very good.
Yes.
In this area, you find this note on this dead soldier's body where he dropped his key in the spring by a waterfall, and his data disk was taken by one of the helmet people. So we go back to the jungle to try to get the key and shake it loose from this leaf in order to proceed. Right.
So a dumb little backtracking thing. Like, you have to go pretty far into that area just to get a thing to move forward in the third energy facility. If I was giving them a note, I would say, no, this is no good.
Yeah. If this game was 5 hours long, I couldn't handle this. The fact that it's 3 hours and 45 minutes. So.
Yeah. But yeah, so you can go in and you get to the control room. Another file here says like, hey, some mechanics from Edward City came in to repair our underwater generator here. Third energy being just the kind of infinite energy source that they, that powers this whole venture. However, they have gone missing. This generator is basically the only lifeline that the castaways have. And also the mechanics who went down there and disappeared have the only key card into Edward City, which seems like a really big oversight to me.
Yeah, they should have made more than one key card for that.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't feel comfortable living in a house that only had one key to the front door.
That, like, accident. Not just one key that you had, but nobody else has a key. It's also, I think, isn't this the lore note that ends with the really grim thing where the guy's like, I wish this reactor would just explode. Yeah. Is that this one?
He doesn't say, I wish it would just explode. He just say, like, I think he says, I wish it would break so we wouldn't be tormented by the hope of a possibility that we could get home.
Yeah. He really wants this reactor to go up.
Right.
It's weird to me. Like, it's how he ends his letter. It was very surprising to me. So this key in this control room allows you to open this utility box on this boat that is outside, and it has a code to the underwater elevator, which is 2350. Not a reference as far as I know. Nope. And we go into this underwater section.
Yeah.
Doing this whack-a-mole thing first. Like, we have to do this, like, using our stun knife to make sure all the buttons stay pressed.
Yeah, something like that. Like, this is a fine idea, but it is a very bad use for tank controls that require, don't make me use tank controls for something that is both time sensitive and requires precision.
Yeah. And, what on earth does this emulate? Like, what is this?
I don't know.
As a thing,
Yeah. No clue.
Very, very surprising.
Yeah. So you pop on the diving suit and you get underwater. You have new weapons for this. You have like a needle gun as your primary weapon that you start out with. You also have like a shock. I don't even know what it's supposed to be. It's like a shock gauntlet kind of thing that does a close up thing, but also like pushes you backwards when you do it. And that is a problem because when you're down here, this is like a platforming area.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very strange that you do platforming in this diving suit. As you head down here, this to me was the only area of this game that gave me any real tension or anything.
Yes.
Because I find it spooky to be underwater. Like threats can come from any angle. And these underwater like crocodile dinosaurs can kind of come from any area to attack.
Yeah.
So I ended up finding this actually a little spooky.
And you're also moving very slow. You feel disempowered in a game that is entirely about empowerment. Yep. Yeah.
It's a little spooky. The maintenance people down here have left a note about their procedures. They basically left themselves in, and there's a crack in this important pillar down here that we can break with a good enough weapon.
That weapon is something we need to buy. Of course, points are free, so it doesn't matter. It's called an aqua grenade. It's a little grenade launcher. I love the gigantic door that we can't get into because there's a tiny little sign on a chain there.
Yeah.
I know that's like complaining about a waist-high wall, but like that is an especially egregious example to me.
There's a velvet rope.
We're
not invited.
Yeah.
So we get the aqua grenade. And we do some more kind of platforming down here to get the items we need. Platforming is very weird in a fixed camera tank control game.
Yeah.
It's not super demanding, but it is awkward. And I can't think of very many games that do that.
I can only think of one, only one that we did over Blood. We did that on Epic Suffering. That's the only one of those I can think of that has a jump like that.
And even then, like, you weren't really doing platforming; you just kind of could jump.
Yeah,
at least in the place where I got to in that.
Yeah, so. And here, your jump is mostly vertical. There's not a lot of horizontal to it.
Yeah. Once you get to the end of it, you get the end of this platforming section, you can blow up the pillar to create a platform using the aqua grenade.
Yeah.
And in this reactor room, the plesiosaur attacks the actual plesiosaur. And now that you're underwater, it's a big deal. It is dangerous. It's really big, but we have aqua grenades.
Yeah. And there's also like a lot
water.
of grenade means grenade. There's also a lot of healing items just kind of laying around. It's very low stakes. But also it's like a cool encounter. Like you said, being underwater is inherently tense.
Yeah, I like this.
This is gigantic too. Like something that is just generally good about this is when a dinosaur is big, you feel it.
Yeah. It does have a little bit of that sense of scale to it. That you want. This gets you the Edward City key card. You can take this elevator back to the surface here to get to the city gates. Yeah. You go onto the ship and Dylan meets you. He's like, "How is the water?" And you're like, "I don't recommend the diving at this resort. Like, they're just having fun. These two virgins are having fun. There's absolutely like no sexual tension in this aromantic relationship between these dorks." And we get a radio call from our teammate David. He didn't die. David is the one, Prince Valiant with the cowboy hat. But he's cut off by static, and he was the one who went to the city to try to rescue people while you futzed around and got points. Right.
No, I mean, to be fair, we did fall off of a small hill. So
yeah.
So we're at the gates to Edward City, but we can't get in right away. There's a little bit of space we have to cover. As Dylan, we're going to go through some volcano caves.
Sure.
And you're going to want to pick up some of these weapons here. You unlock the anti-tank cannon, which is Dylan's best gun that isn't a rocket launcher. It's super satisfying to just fucking obliterate things with that. And you have a sidearm here, which is a mine gun, which is actually going to be a key that we need to use.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. You get out of this maintenance area into the forest, and we see a yellow triangle tree, which is apparently David's mark. You talk about it, it's David's symbol. And David's symbol is like a shitty triangle. Like if a 4-year-old drew a triangle with their non-dominant hand, that's Prince David the cowboy, his signal.
All hail, y'all. Yeah.
So we had to follow these signals here. And the way forward to follow them is through a volcano.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Why not?
You know?
You got to blow up this, calcium rock, to get in. Frustratingly, these are throughout the entire area, including 2 that you need to get through at the end. And, the mine thrower is also one of the things that you need to make the new, the new dinosaur in this area, vulnerable. This, Enos Transcivius, something like that. Yeah. Like they're really very heavily armored, enemies that you have to knock over with the mine in order to shoot their belly, or just use your anti-tank gun and blow them up. It's fine.
Yeah. You either do the weakness or ignore the weakness. The 2 options. This is, you only fight with that dinosaur here. But again, you have a little bit of that. They can come from any angle thing because they crawl out of holes in the wall.
Yeah.
And around corners and stuff. Like I like this sequence. You get to this compound at the end. You reunite with Regina. And you need to pass through this area just crawling with allosaurs. So to do this, you do this kind of leapfrog thing where one character mans an artillery cannon and the other runs around and uses a signal gun to show that person who to shoot at.
Yes. At least on normal, you cannot be hurt by the artillery that comes down, which is pretty convenient and also makes this area exceptionally fun. Because not only are you trying to clear like the shipping containers that are in the way, but like this is the way that you kill 2-3 allosauruses at a time.
Yes, which are the toughest dinosaur we've fought so far.
Right.
We find a dino file. This one's talking about the Triceratops, and it's instead of giving us cool dino facts, it's the soldiers talking about how they fucked with their eggs.
Yeah,
and the
so
Triceratops held a grudge. I can't eat just one.
Yeah.
So the Triceratops got revenge. You know, there's a quote in here. I'm glad you pulled this because I love this. The only thing that will stop a Triceratops is an even more angry Triceratops. I'll never forget the advice my father gave me on my wedding day.
Oh man, you're dumb as a mule and twice as ugly.
Yeah.
Oh God, so good. And like right away, like the next scene, you get to just this horrible tableau where there's like a dead baby Triceratops laying on the ground, and like
so sad.
Dylan runs up and is like, "Oh my God, who could have done this?" And as Dylan is like,
and then who's behind his shoulder? A Triceratops. I wish they had done the like he was talking to Regina and Regina was like,
behind me.
He's just like, what? Should I turn around? I'm not going to turn around. There's something behind me. And the Triceratops is just pounding its hand into its fist into its palm. Because that's the energy of the scene as they like come up. They're like, "Oh, we can explain," but then it's Triceratops. You can't explain,
right?
So you end up in this rail shooter sequence from the back of a Jeep, which is extremely Let's Go Jungle.
Yeah.
I find this much harder than the water one.
Yeah, this one's this is about doing counters more than anything. Yes. I failed this once. Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the few places I died in the game. Because the Triceratops have really unusual charging patterns. Their like sideways run is very fast. So tons of strafing.
Yeah. If you shoot them when they're too far away, they're not going to be slowed down enough. You have to shoot them when they're like really close in order to actually cause them to dip back.
Yeah. Yep. We get done though. Dylan shows some grudging respect for Regina. And telling her she did some cool driving, but as immediately she's like, "That was some cool driving. Look out!" And they just take the Jeep over a cliff that was like 10 feet in front of them.
They immediately flip the Jeep into a field, and what emerges from the tall grass? Just hundreds of raptors.
Yeah, just this is where the raptors were hanging out and doing the raptoring.
Cool driving.
Yeah, that was cool driving. However, missiles rain down onto the raptor nest from a helicopter piloted by Prince Cowboy, David. This helicopter is being pursued by the one-eyed T-Rex, leading to get grim vengeance on David for taking his eye.
Oh, jeez. I got it. He took my hand, but I got his eye. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now we're going to get to Edward City. I am disappointed because Edward City is like 2 screens.
This is what I wanted. Like, we both like this game. I feel like you're slightly warmer on it than me, but I'm still pretty warm on it.
Yeah.
What it's missing that I want from even things adjacent to this genre, though, is like exploring cool zones.
Yeah.
And you do a little bit of that in this, but there's not like, these like beautiful, shops
right.
that have been knocked over. Like I was expecting to, go through people's houses and stuff and see real people, having to deal with this dinosaur shit.
Yeah, instead of
it's really
anonymous
short.
facilities. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically just more lab.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there's like one cool place that you go. Like your first save room here is like a busted up convenience store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of like sense of place.
Right. But when you first get here, you get into the city, and this is the cutscene where you decide, okay, rescue mission, probably not the best because like just let me see the last of the soldiers die. Like they're just being chased down and eaten. So, oops.
And because it's a video game, Regina says we can't save human life, but we can still get combat data.
Oh boy.
So we have to get the data discs. So we still have to do the mission. And it's like, man, just get out of there. Fucking jackbooted idiots.
They need the data to help build a new time gate, is what she says.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she talks about the mission still being active though too. So it's a little bit confusing. Like this would have felt more real to me if she was like, fuck the mission, but we need to get the disc to get out.
Right.
But she's still going to give it to her boss, whoever, to Trat.
Yes. Hi, I'm Trat.
Hello, John Trat. We didn't even go for an acrostic.
No. Yeah. So you go to the shop, which acts as your save room. There's a log written by a shop owner, which is he's real knowledgeable about the affairs of the military, given that he, I assume primarily sells jerky and condoms.
Yeah.
But the military, like they're like one of their plans, and it's a really dumb plan, is to fire a third energy missile at the jungle to like obliterate the surrounding area. Which I think maybe their plan is just like create a dino free zone, but like you're probably going to kill a bunch of people with this mega nuke, so that's bad.
It's also like a time nuke.
Yeah,
this third energy stuff caused a bunch of time crises. Mm-hmm. It feels like time nuke isn't going to do great work for you.
We will become bastards, destroyer.
Yeah,
we will all be.
We'll become BASTAD. Anyway,
destroyers of worlds eventually. Yeah.
So we attempt to to get to this area to build the time gate and stop them and everything, but the T-Rex attacks again.
Right.
And Dylan runs into a tank, which you have to pilot and use these guns to slow down the dinosaur and clear a path. Mm-hmm. You get flash bombs to slow it down. The tank looks really cute and small compared to the T-Rex.
It looks like such
I really
toy.
love how toy-like it looks. Yeah. It's very sweet.
Yeah. Extremely charming, and just like you're doing like literal tank controls, and like it's so that appearance is not helped by the fact that you're going along these streets that are like raised above the ground, which to all the worlds looks like you are a toy tank on some Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
Some Hot Wheels track. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the idea of like a mod that takes a game with tank controls and replaces your avatar with a tank.
It's good.
Like, what if there was Resident Evil, but you played as like a howitzer? Mm-hmm. Instead of Jill Valentine.
Yeah. And you were fighting like mutated tanks. Mutanks.
Yeah, or just zombies.
Oh yeah.
You're just tiny tank versus the zombie horde.
Tiny tank in zombie land.
Yeah, tiny tank in zombie zone. Yeah.
Oh geez. But yeah, like this is a fine little mini game. Relatively low stakes, and it's fun to shoot a T-Rex with a tank cannon. But you end up getting your tank crushed in a closing door that separates you from the T-Rex. Like immediately right here is the gas mask that you need.
It's really good. The door is closing, and you're doing the like Indiana Jones thing, where you're gonna like dive under the door just in time, but you're driving a tank.
Yep.
So everything is happening so slow. And you just don't make it. Like you get halfway through it and the door comes down and crushes the tank. It's so good. Like nobody doesn't make it through those things.
Yeah.
Like I love it. So at this point, one of the helmet people attacks you. And that girl from before comes and saves you.
Yeah.
Throwing the attacker off a cliff. And in the struggle that they're in, this necklace pops off from the young woman. And she runs off. And then Dylan sees the necklace and is like, this is my dead sister's necklace.
What?
Uh-oh.
And I love that, like, Regina's like, exposit for me. And sad music starts playing, and like he immediately like walks over and looks out a window and talks about his past. I was different before I joined the army, Like he used to be a street tough, and like his actions drew enough heat on his family that his mom and sister got killed. So like as penance, he joined the army to straighten out.
Can you imagine being a street tough and being Dylan, like rolling up to a rap battle with that haircut, or something?
I think he got the. I think the other street toughs gave him that haircut as a punishment.
That could be. They tied him down. It's like, we're gonna make it look like you cut your own hair, freak.
Well, I mean, like it's if you told me this haircut was the result of a struggle, I would believe it. Yeah,
a struggle or a bad wager.
Yeah,
So this haircut was the result of a dark bet. So we learned Dylan's origin here. Regina's off to the missile silo. Heads to the jungle. You put on the gas mask when you go into the contaminated area. The contaminated area is cool. Scary, and it looks like outside my window right now as forest fires.
As our country burns. Yeah. Do you have like big puffy spores out there?
I haven't looked. I haven't gone outside because it's dangerous to go outside. So there could be.
Is Pocket acting different because of the smell?
I would think he would, but he's being pretty chill.
That's good.
Pretty chill, lethargic.
Like he's not getting enough oxygen?
No. And so it basically smells like a campfire inside my apartment.
Weird.
So if you like that campfire smell, like... Yeah.
I mean, in certain contexts, not over my possessions.
Not on everything.
Yeah.
But for people listening this way in the future, because we're recording this September 10th, as of September 10th, I'm safe.
Yes. Who knows what tomorrow brings? Literally none of us.
Yeah.
Anyway, you get into
crisis too.
You get into the data command room. Here, I'm trying to think if there are any final weapons you get as Regina.
I don't remember.
No,
this game was not hard enough for me to like. If I had something that worked, I ground in this game, but I mostly did in the first half. And even though this game is incredibly short, I got a little eyes on the prize.
Yeah.
Around once the revelation started happening with the helmet girl, I was a little like, we'll just get to the story. I feel like I've basically learned what this game can teach me in terms of like fighting dinos.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, we talked about the last weapon so early. Regina's weapons are so much cheaper compared to Dylan's. So I think her final weapons might just be the heavy machine gun and the, and the
homing rocket?
The homing rocket, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, you get to the command room and you find this note about the Gigantosaurus, which, if the past is a pattern, means we're going to see one like right away. That's true. Yes. There's no information. I like the way this is written because we found a T-Rex with gigantic teeth marks in it. We think it might be this. Anybody who might have seen it to report on it came back dead. So...
They literally say there's two things this could be. The dinosaur doesn't exist or it killed every soldier.
Right.
It's like, well, something hit the T-Rex, man. I don't want to CSI you guys.
Yeah.
But, take this disc out of the computer and go back outside only for the one-eyed T-Rex to show up. And you're like, oh, finally it's time for a boss fight. But then the Gigantosaurus comes and wipes it out.
Yeah. And then Regina walks back inside is like, uh-oh, I think I'm going to be in here for a while.
Check, please.
Weirdly, Dylan comes in through the door that Regina just ran through, and he doesn't remark on the epic dino battle that's happening outside.
No, he wasn't paying attention. He was looking at his phone.
He had headphones in.
Yeah.
And, you know, like we're talking, we're doing like we're about ready to start, you know, making a plan, but we're interrupted. There's an alert from the computer. It has interpreted the rumblings of the epic dino battle outside with the Gigantosaurus as a threat to the silo. And what do you do when you have a silo that's under threat? You launch the payload automatically.
Yeah, you got to make sure this thing doesn't get destroyed without launching the payload. Because otherwise, what would be the point?
Yeah, why would we have spent the money?
Yeah, so an unfired missile is one of the most tragic things.
Yeah,
in you know, in this universe. So we want to stop this if we can. Regina goes to the core. We have 10 minutes to defeat the Gigantosaurus. Mm-hmm. Using these kind of gas nozzles. I love this because it looks like Home Alone.
Exactly. Yes. I was going to say it's Marv getting his head toasted in Home Alone.
Yeah. Except with a Gigantosaur.
Yep.
Like it's really funny to set the dinosaur's head on fire and him be grumpy about it.
And you do it so many times. You're running him back and forth between these two nozzles and the same thing happens each time.
This dinosaur is a fucking idiot. Yeah. It's really funny though. This is a very funny little boss fight.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so good. But he does fall over, his head thoroughly cooked, which is nice. You still have this time limit. You've got to do a more intricate version of that whack-a-mole game with a stun gun to, you know, keep the panels lit or whatever. A real bummer to do that when you have a time limit. However, easy enough. You get up and deactivate the missile. Think, cool, we're good. Problem is, though, when you get back down to the ground level, Gigantosaurus wakes up. He decides, okay, head's just cooked. I'm fine. And he goes on a warpath and knocks over the missile, catching the whole facility on fire, and the warhead is prepped to detonate anyway.
Yeah. It turns out the facility was right.
Right.
About launching.
Yep.
So we have to escape. There are big armored dinosaurs have flooded in.
Yeah, the same ones from the volcano, which I think they're like implies that they just are attracted to fire.
Like yeah, they're just like, it's warm in here, boy. We reach the back. We run into Dylan and David, and we need to get as far away as possible before the warhead blows.
Right.
Here. So we ride this boat downriver. Mm-hmm. You know, and when we get there, we reach this closed gate. There's a valve handle that will open it. So Regina's like, I'll take care of it. And then David says, let the men handle this. Let's go, bro. And gives you a high five.
And goes, whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yep. So David and Dylan have to go take care of this. It's a boys' night in. These two guys jump into a roomy full bed and I'm gonna stay up late and eat Reese's Pieces, bro. So,
oh fuck. So anyway, this is very funny. And David is so like eyes on the prize. I'm going to turn this fucking valve. He doesn't notice that there are raptors all around him. So you have to Dylan goes and mans a cannon on a guard tower, and you have to shoot all the raptors that are coming to eat your bro.
Yeah. And once he does it, he's like, I rule. Bingo. Dill, let's go back. And it's very like, man, David, like it is very hard to tell who would be the worst member of track to hang out with.
Yeah.
You know, cause it's like Dylan you have to look at, David you have to listen to, Regina you have to like, you know, learn about machetes. You know, none of it. And then Nell, the least said about Nell, the better. Like I find Nell extremely annoying in this.
I don't want to have my face felt. And I think that Nell would feel my face.
Yeah.
Because she does that a couple of times here.
We're not making fun of people who are mute or have brain things where they can't speak. This person was in a dino bed.
Right.
To taught them. I hope that nobody is drawing real life parallels and like,
no.
Oh, mask off. Like these guys are making fun of Nell. And I'm like, you know, I don't know. I don't feel that bad making fun of the Nell from Dino Crisis 2. Personally.
Yeah. She's confident. She can handle herself in combat.
She can throw a frisbee.
It's fine. Yeah.
She can frolf with the best of them.
So after David says bingo and Allosaurus attacks and Dylan or sorry, David like charges in and sacrifices himself to save Dylan, who has fallen into a river. Like, okay, Dylan was already in the river and going down there. You didn't need to get to throw yourself directly into the Allosaurus's maw.
Nope, you could have thrown yourself into the river and got away as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty dumb.
Right.
Dylan wakes up and the strange girl is standing over him. Mm-hmm. She can't speak, but she keeps saying home and pointing in a specific direction.
Right.
So we have this little escort section where we have to protect her and cross the jungle.
Yeah. So I failed this. I failed this once. Why they would wait until the end of this to do a bad escort mission? Like you almost made it, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, they could have just given the girl her cool frisbee gun.
Yeah.
She escaped, and it's like, well, if I'm going to trust her to go back to what she's pointing at as home, I will trust her to, carry a frisbee.
Yes.
So
she doesn't seem to be especially murderous.
No, she likes you.
Mm-hmm.
We end up in, because it's a Capcom game of this vintage, the end is a lab. We're in this futuristic lab zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we pass by this courtyard that's around this futuristic shaft into the ground, and there are monuments around kind of talking about the way that the third energy project has developed and grown, from just being energy to being a weapon, and ultimately being turned into something called the ARC project and the creation of something called Paradise.
Yes. Little pro tip if you're doing dark science, don't name your projects things that sound good.
Yeah.
Because they'll immediately know that they're horrible.
Yes.
There's no way Project Paradise is going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Panacea, ARC, none of this stuff. Also a weird little theme this month. We get to the ARC facility here. We find the superintendent's memo. We talked about how humankind and dinosaurs cannot exist. The children of the future flung into the past will be kept in life support pods designed for dinosaurs and fed only dinosaur information and taught to protect the dinosaurs. So the helmet teens are future teens who were put into dino teaching pods to learn dino rules.
Yeah. So spend several years in dino kindergarten stasis.
Yeah. So that's why they were throwing frisbees at you.
Yeah.
Because they thought, they were like, I have to protect a dinosaur because I learned that in dinosaur school pod. It's amazing. It's fucking incredible.
My jaw dropped, Gary. My jaw dropped.
Just hold up, And it's so funny too because, it's not like if you were going to try to do I feel like that's the moment in which this game ceases to become a sci-fi movie. Because a sci-fi movie would just be it's like a cult that worships dinosaurs or something.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd go as far as to say they were taught the dinosaurs' ways through a pod.
Yeah, that is the extra step, isn't it?
Yeah. It made me want to become an exchange student to learn about dinosaur culture.
Yep.
I would do a year in this pod.
But then you would come out chirping and I couldn't podcast with you.
Well, but they were in it for a long time, I think. If it was just a year, I don't think I'd learn how to, forget how to speak.
Okay. We don't know how
come back with a lot of, dinosaur related, insights.
We don't know how time works inside the pod, Gary.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. It might be a risk I'm willing to take, though. I'd like to learn more about dinosaurs.
If you're dead set on touching the stove, I'm not going to talk you out of it.
Yeah. Specifically from the dinosaurs' perspective. I think that a lot of the information I've got about dinosaurs was written after the fact.
Yeah.
I would like to know more about the dinosaurs themselves.
Yeah.
What do you think?
From the loser's point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Anywho, I was going to make a joke and didn't.
Yeah. Cool.
So, anyway, oh boy. Okay. We run to another note that talks about how the first overdrive it happened in 2009, which changed the history of life on Earth after the Cretaceous period.
Right.
And the ARC plan was to send dinosaurs to a habitable environment in the future for safekeeping until they can be reinserted into the time stream by the wet-ass pussy Central Council.
It's literally called the WAPP Central Council.
Yes.
That's the only reason I took a note of that is because of that recent song and music video.
The idea is dinosaurs can't live in modern times.
Right.
We can't send them to the past, though.
Right.
We had to send them to the future where we have the technology to handle them.
Right.
It's really weird.
Yeah. So we're we're not in the past. We're 3 million years in the future.
Yes.
And also, keep them in the future while you do what? Because when after the first overdrive, they cast around and they saw life is changing dramatically. What are you going to do? It kind of seems like taking all these dinosaurs and flinging them into the future might actually have created more problems.
There's no real good end step from the WAP Council. I imagine this is one of the least thought out plans that we've had a villain do in a video game.
We can, should, will, and must blow up the moon and also send dinosaurs 3 million years into the future.
We're Earthlings. Let's blow up Earth things.
Jesus.
So we got more though, because this is where the game gets funny and interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like because up until this point, story has been very sparse.
Yeah, just something terrible happened. Here are some bodies. This is the dinosaur that did it.
And if this ended with just a big T-Rex fight, I don't think I would really like this game very much. I think knowing this crazy context to everything is what makes it fun.
Yes.
So we go in further, we find the girl. And what pops up in the middle of the room but hologram of an old grizzled cable kind of figure who addresses Dylan by his last name. And does more exposition here.
Yes. So in the year 2055, the Noah's Ark project successfully launched. They threw these dinosaurs 3 million years into the future. The problem is that the gate broke on their side. And this hologram, was flung through along with his family. The incident killed the mother of his child, Paula. Paula is the name of the young girl from the Helmet Squad who's been following us around here. And then the hologram turns around and he's got a mustache and he's old and he reveals.
He signs off.
He signs
He's
off. This is Dylan Morton or something like that. And Dylan's like, what? You're myself in the future?
Yep. So at some point, Dylan, our boy, goes into the future and fathers a bunch of helmet teens who get put into dinosaur learning pods to learn about dinosaur culture with frisbees.
Yep.
Very good.
Yeah. So the plan, we gotta get these teens back to the modern day. We've got this gate inside. It can only fire once though.
Yep. So we go into this big transport area, and we get an alert for the self-destruct sequence that's been activated. It was one of the helmet people. They did it to protect the dinosaurs, apparently.
Yep.
And we have this final boss fight with the outrunning the Gigantosaurus.
Right.
It knocks down this walkway as we're running away from it. We have to activate these targeting computers to call down a satellite beam to liquefy it, because that's also in play.
Yes. We have satellites. We have satellites in the air in the skies 3 million years into the future. Orbital decay doesn't exist. And
we decided not to use them until now.
Right.
Yeah.
This is tense because you have to run to two far ends of this, big room while the Gigantosaurus is coming around taking chomps out of you. The satellite beam is so strong. The aftermath of it is kind of fucking amazing. How far they commit to it, because it doesn't just kill and melt this dinosaur. It creates a crater tunnel that cuts into the mantle of the Earth.
Yeah, that seems bad to me.
Yeah,
I guess the future is quarantined in a way this far in the future. If you get back home, this is definitively not your problem. It is still a pretty big deal, though.
Yeah,
just from an Earth perspective.
Yeah,
it seems not the kind of thing to do.
Yeah, it's pretty cool looking.
Yeah, it also really is overkill. This thing is made of muscles and bones.
Yeah.
Skin.
Give it enough time, you could probably take them out because you have unlimited ammunition, Dylan.
Yeah. And it just doesn't, and also during the fight sequence when you're running away, this is not like that T-Rex sequence from before. I took so much damage.
Yes.
Like I just heel tanked this.
Uh-huh.
But he just clips you constantly. Like you're just constantly being gnawed on by this dinosaur.
Yeah. No, I heel tanked it too.
Yeah. So you get into this gate room. I'm ready to activate the gate, but there's a piece of equipment falls on Paula, your future daughter, dino-teen, pinning her.
Sorry.
It's great. It is. It's like the best thing about this game is like all this shit at the end.
Yeah. So she's pinned. Dylan, he is not going to leave her here. He's going to stay for all the good we're going to see that does. Says, hey, Regina, this is time travel. So we're going to, you go back, you take the data on that disk, you build a perfect gate and then come back here.
Yes. So she goes through the gate, the facility explodes, and that's actually fucking credits.
Yeah. Hey, Dylan, did you stay here to die with your daughter?
Yeah, we don't know what happens. This is what gets followed up on in the shooting game.
Uh-huh.
Like, this is like literally ends with a sequel hook, and they change genres between sequels, and there are like many years between the sequel and stuff. Yeah. Then a sequel hook, it like ends at like the end, like halfway through Act 3. It's really weird.
I don't know how it's even like a cliffhanger or a sequel hook, because it like all that's left is just they die. Regina goes back to the present, and then Dylan and Paula just fucking die because rubble falls and it explodes. The way it'd be a sequel hook
is she would do the thing that he said, like she'd go and build the perfect gate and come and grab them before they got exploded.
Yeah,
because of Bill and Ted time reasons. But it's just, it's dumb. And it is a tightrope, because like there is a way of this being presented, and this was in a 12-hour game. I would not really be here for it.
No,
I think I'd be a little bit like, this balances the tightrope really well in a way that I think is like legitimately, go on to YouTube and watch a compilation of all the cutscenes because it's very funny.
Yeah.
Even if the play doesn't sound good to you, which the play is pretty fun.
Yeah, the play is fun. Like I actually recommend this. There's so little barrier to like getting into this and having some fun, and it just it slides by like it's on a greased rail. Yeah,
this is extremely extremely easy to play. And fun. Like this is a good game. I appreciate Eric sponsoring it. And I'm glad that I got a chance to play it.
Yeah. I wish that there was an easy way to play Dino Crisis 3. I do not think it is backward compatible on the 360, unfortunately. But like, it sounds like such a disaster that I want to see like the specific way in which it is a disaster.
Yeah. I might like just read the TV tropes or watch a Let's Play or something.
Yeah.
On it. Like that sounds about my speed for it.
Yeah.
But I was glad I played this. It is weird, like having the Devil May Cry DNA to this was totally unintentional and very strange, because this is not, it came out a year before Devil May Cry. I think this game is fun and enjoyable. It's so weird though, because I don't think there's an argument that like fixed camera tank controls are the way to do a combo based shooter like this.
No, not at all.
Like the best way. Like this is fun, but it's like fun in spite of itself. And the plot is really fun and funny almost in spite of itself. Like it succeeds, but it's not the best form of what this is.
Right.
It's a really weird game. Like it's a really hard game to evaluate.
Yeah. It makes a good pair with Onimusha, actually, if you want to like look at the two things kind of like right next to each other as, action heavy games in the tank control, pre-rendered background kind of space. And I think they came out in the same year, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Capcom, it's just a real weird time for this company.
Very weird.
Yeah.
So thanks everybody.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric. Thanks for joining us on this breezy WAF episode of this breezy game. We appreciate you. If you have any things to say about Dino Crisis 2, the deadline is October 15th. And that includes if you have things to say about Soma, Resident Evil 5, or Doom 3.
We are not covering the expansion for Doom 3.
No. And I'm going to briefly talk about the expansions for RE5, but I don't know that I'm going to play them because I'm trying to get that game actually done before I move.
Yes.
So I'm on a little bit of a time thing, but they're neat.
Yeah.
They're also not particularly deep. So
yeah. I plan to play them. So I've got time. So
the mansion one is cool. It's a love letter to Resident Evil 1 in a fun way.
Nice.
So
yeah. So like we said, Duckfeed.tv/contact, the 15th of the month. If you have, things to say, we haven't announced November's games yet. Shit.
We know what they are.
We do. Yeah. We're recording these in a weird way.
Yeah. We're recording in advance. We won't mention them this episode. We mentioned them in the dispatch, which happened last week. Which you also listened to, but time means nothing. So
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then patreon.com/DuckFeed.tv. The God of War episode we just put up, I think, is really good.
Yeah.
And I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah.
If you want, the whole thing is available for $5 patrons.
Yeah. That ended up being like a 4-hour, 10-minute episode. Not that quantity is quality, but just,
it's
we had a lot to say.
And we didn't cover like everything in it. So it's fun and lively. And there's a bunch of those that you can get, including the Devil May Cry episode we referenced many times.
Yeah.
In this.
Yeah. Additionally, a whole other shows like Unfilmable, our show about Lovecraft adaptations to the screen, Bonfireside Chat, our series about the Souls series and Souls likes and things like that. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of stuff over there on the Patreon.
Yep. It's a good place to hang out. And until next time, what should they watch out for, Cole?
They should watch out for the Cyclops. He's got one eye, but it's on you.